from K1S1 group number 4. Our group name is Civilian. My name is Charlton Chong.
My name is Brendan Frederick.
My name is Oh Jang Han.
My name is Kaya Rino.
And my name is Russell Austin Fu. So basically we did 4 assignments, 2 from K1 and 2 from K2. The first one would be soil strengthening. Second one would be sustainability developmental goals by United Nations. The third one would be calculating the structure building. And the last one would be sedimentation of soil in the river.
So in order to make this video, we are working together with K2S2 Group 17. And of course, without them, we wouldn't be able to make this video.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Charlton. Today I'm going to talk about how to strengthen the soil. As we all know, all the successful construction must have a strong and stable foundation base, which is the soil. So today I'm going to give you 2 ways to strengthen the soil. Okay, so the first way is by using dynamic compaction method. This method is by releasing a huge heavy load from a certain amount of height. When it drops, it will produce a huge vibration to the ground. So when the particles move, vibrate, they will become even compact. So the second method to strengthen the soil is by using vibration method. So vibration method, we can use a vibrator to dig until a certain amount of height. So it will create a pathway for the other particles to go in. So when it have the pathway, we can put the sand on top of the surface at the beginning opening. So when the vibrator keeps on vibrating, all the particles will go in. So this process is, we can call this as densitization.
Hi there, my name is Kaya from K1S1. Today I'm gonna introduce you and explain you about sedimentation. What is sedimentation? Sedimentation divided into 2 categories, which is erosion and deposition. Okay, first we're gonna talk about erosion. Erosion occurs when the sedimentation demands is more than the sedimentation supply. As you can see over here, we imagine this is a beach, it's a sand, which is a soil. When the sedimentation demand, which is when the seawater it hit the soil, it will cause the soil to dissolve and erode, which at higher rate than the sedimentation which occur here, which is sedimentation supply. Okay, now we talk about the deposition. Deposition occurs when the sedimentation supply is more than the sedimentation demand. Okay, the river flow, the water flow is from the river to the river mouth, which brings soil and sand from the river. So when the soil and when the sand go to the river mouth, it stops there and they accumulate at the river mouth. This causes the deposition. The solution for this problem is to do rebatement, which you do the defense, should end up the rock to prevent it from erosion. Another thing is land reclamation, which you put back the land or soil or sand into the respective place where it is needed. And as for the deposition, you can dredge it, which you dig up the sand, the accumulated sand in the deposition, and you can use it to refill the erosion.
Hi, my name is Russell, and our third assignment was from the Sustainability Developmental Goals of United Nations. We chose Goal 11, which was for sustainability in city development. So our focus was on how to provide positive economic, environmental and social linkages between urban, peri-urban and rural areas in the form of national and regional developing plans. So based on our assignment, we have found a few problems that have led to the difficulty in the rural areas to have strong linkages between the urban and peri-urban areas. For example, the problems faced specifically for the rural areas was that educational opportunities were limited. For example, people who were more in a higher socioeconomic status were given a higher chance of having education compared to those who were more financially unstable. And secondly was cities usually provide a lot of source of electricity, so usually rural areas highly depend on these places. And thirdly is that there is lack of transportation in these rural areas. For example, the road systems are fairly bad, which stops a lot of cars from being able to travel in and out of the rural areas. And for the urban areas, it is one of the problems we found was that it had a lack of management for disposal of waste. Means that a lot of those disposals from industrial activities, they couldn't really arrange it properly so that it was disposed safely without harming the environment. And the second one would be that the population in the urban areas are highly populated, so it causes a very congested environment, and it is a very hustle and bustle in the city. And one of the linkages we found that was very difficult to achieve between these areas was that the people in the rural areas and the people in the urban areas have different backgrounds and thinking due to their lifestyle. So this causes a difficulty in them collaborating.
Hello, my name is Brendan. So, the effort to strengthen the linkage between urban, peri-urban and rural area can be seen from two major roles, which is the government roles and the society roles. For the government roles, it can be seen from the development of the socio-economic infrastructure. For an example, the buildings of local university and schools across the country, especially in urban area, to provide an equal growth of education and economic growth. So next, the government also provide a convenient transportation system. From this, the citizens can easily travel from the rural area to the urban area to strengthen their social bond and also expose them to a different environment. For an example, the construction of Pen-Borneo Highway in Sabah. Next, moving on to the society role. The society can setting up a business or starting invest on the rural area. Setting up a business, opening a shop lots or opening an office in the rural area can actually provide job opportunities for the rural society, and this will also contribute to the economic growth.
Hi, my name is Oh Jak Han, and I'm from K1. And the assignment that I'm going to discuss today is building structure. And from building structure, there are many topics, and one of the topics that I want to discuss today is lot on buildings. And block on buildings can be categorized into 4 groups, but today for the main topic that I want to discuss is deadlocks. And for the deadlocks is defined as the vertical lock due to the weight of the permanent structure and non-structural component and attachment like wall, ceiling, and floor and roof. Since we are the first year students and we are lack of the knowledge about to calculate the whole building, and we are assigned for this assignment we are only calculate volume of the building or material with the information of calculate the building length, width and height. After that we can get a volume of A. After that, as we know that the density of the concrete is 24, and when we want to calculate the mass of the building or material for each, we have to multiply the volume of building times the density of the concrete, and then we can get the mass of the material or the building. And for the weight of the building and material, we have to multiply by 9.81 radiation acceleration, and then we can get a Newton. Since for the calculation just now is only for one component, and then we have to sum out all the materials inside the building. The total weight of the materials is using the weight of each material times the number of materials, and then you can get a total number of the material inside the building. and then you sum the total weight of the building is you sum up all the materials inside the building and the weight of the building, and then you can get a total weight.
A lifetime in repeat.
So, structural engineer. Structural engineer is also a part of civil engineering, which they are educated to create the shape and form of a man-made buildings. Structural engineer need to understand and calculate the strength, rigidity, and stability of a building. Structural engineer theory is based upon a physical law, which is the knowledge of structural performance of materials and geometries. Structural engineers always work together with the architect and the designer in order to design a beautiful structure, and they are supervised by the project construction, or in other words, the contractor.
Okay. For material engineer, they are specified in developing, modifying, and testing materials. For example, the fiberglasses materials, they are developed by material engineers to replace steel and wood. Fiberglasses are more compact, more light, and stronger, and can be used to make a boat. Material engineer also give advice, especially to maybe the construction engineer. They give advice of what material to use before constructing something. And same concept is also used when repairing. They give advice of what material are used to repair. They also act as oversee to quality control.
Geotechnics is the application of the scientific method and the principle of engineering to the interpretation and the knowledge of the material to solve the engineering problem. And a typical geotechnical engineering project begins with a review of the project needs to be define the required material properties. Transportation engineering. Transportation engineering is the application to the planning, functional design, operation, and also the management of facilities of any modes of transportation. As a civil engineer, we must plan before we construct at the particular area. So a lot of information we have to know. For example, population, land use, and also the economic of that particular area. After planning to construct at that area, we have to design, for example, how many lanes we have to build on the railroad, or the material and the thickness of the construction to make it stabilized and safety.
Okay, so water is a very important source for us, and we need to always make sure that there is no pollution and that our water quality is safe to use. So what we actually need from the study of engineering is water and environmental engineering. So these people who go into this subfield, they will mostly go on topics based on yield analysis, water resourcement development, river flow hydrology, and also building hydraulic structures such as dams, tunnels, and pump stations. So what do water and environmental engineers actually do? So the answer is they actually ensure that water is safe to use for us. They learn to create effective drainage systems in cities to ensure that cities are safe from flash floods in case of heavy downpour. They are also capable of utilizing groundwater to ensure that we are able to use more resources.
Okay guys, so as we already know, the SDG emphasizes a goal to strengthen the linkage between the urban, peri-urban, and rural area. The SDG goals is strongly related to civil engineering because in order to achieve the goal, many skills and knowledge are required, such as the design of road, construction of a steady structure, and a proper management of waste disposal to prevent pollution. So all these skills and knowledge we actually learn from our previous assignment.
Yes, I agree with you, Brendan. And as future civil engineers, we acquire this knowledge from our assignments, and from what we gather was that rural and urban areas have difficulty in linking each other which cause it roots from having bad transportation systems. So from the first assignment we learned, which was strengthening soil, we were allowed to understand how the engineers in the real world solidified the soil in order for the roads to pave its way. So for example, with this information, we would be able to link the transportation system efficiently between all areas of all regions, regardless, with proper engineering techniques. So what do you think about this, Charlton?
Yes, I strongly agree what you have just said. In my opinion, I will like to give another point about rural area. So we can use our knowledge for the past assignments. By using all this knowledge, we can develop in rural area. For example, we can build housing areas to increase the population of the family. So more and more people will come to the rural area instead of going out from the rural area. So as the time pass by, the rural areas can hopefully develop into peri-urban. What about you, Kayao?
I agree to Acai too, because the point that I want to stress about is the sedimentation. Sedimentation causes because some of waste from example factory that build and they throw the waste to the river and cause the sedimentation to occur. By using the skill that we gain from the assignment before, we can prevent that problem and also fix the erosion problem, so that the water mouth is clear that both can be used as transportation methods.
Yeah, as a conclusion, that since we now still a student and we are one of the engineer in the future, and I think that from now we can list out many problems. For example, like the transportation, how to strengthen the soil, sedimentation, and we also figure out many ways to solve the problems. And the idea that through the assignment that we can already made out many of solutions that we can solve this problem and do more better for the country, since we're still a developing country and we need more manpower for like us to develop the country.